fucker you looking at? Hey, lend me $5, man. Hey, I said lend me $5, sucker.
¡No! ¡Déjalo quieto!
Hey.
¡Déjalo, cabrón! ¡No me lo toque así! ¡Déjalo! Yeah! Right on, man!
New York, a city pushed to the edge.
This isn't a neighborhood, it's a war.
But there is one way. One man who won't be pushed. Charles Bronson.
What's the problem?
Now he's in the middle of a war. Charles Bronson, Death Wish 3.
Death Wish 3 is a 1985 American vigilante action thriller film directed and edited by Michael Winner. It is the third film and the last to be directed by Winner in the Death Wish film series. The film opened on November 1st, 1985 on 1,400 screens and was number one at the US box office for the weekend with a gross of $5 million. It retained the number one spot for the following weekend. The film earned $16 million in a 7-week run. Profits from foreign release, video and television were sufficient to make it a lucrative release for Cannon.
What's more, 11 years after Charles Bronson first went rampaging round the streets of New York killing muggers, we're soon to be blessed with Death Wish 3, which promises to be yet another bloodbath with a stone-faced Bronson mowing down anyone he doesn't much fancy the look of. Lurking behind all this, and normally lurking behind a cigar the length of a rifle barrel, is the British director Michael Winner, who combines making films of excessive violence with setting up memorials to murdered policemen. Death Wish 3, like its original, is set in New York, but Mr. Winner elected to film it south of the Thames down Lambeth Way. Film 85 visited the location.
Oh, buggers, go! Cut. Don't back away, fellas. Don't back away. Nobody's firing at you.
An awful lot of people get killed. They're good fun, murder and mayhem thrillers, these. You can't go too far from the original concept, which was a citizen avenging against muggers. After all, Rocky didn't become a missionary in Ethiopia, did he? He stayed a boxer. So it's a broader canvas of action, a community attacked by gangs and saved by the avenging Charlie Bronson. How could you possibly...
Who's on the motorbike?
Right, who can drive a motorbike? I saw one of them now in the rushes. I'm doing it here because I am English. I support the English industry. British film is going to make a lot of publicists rich, but I think that what one has to do if you really support this is employ people. And it's not really cheaper, because as you can see, we've built a very expensive set. All right, you, Ron, get some more chains on them. They look like the sort of people I have dinner with.
In this third Death Wish film, Bronson is joined by Ed Lauter, who plays the local police chief.
See, I grew up in New York City, and I've done nothing but movies everywhere but New York City, and now I get a chance to do it. And it turns out we just do a week in New York City, and then we come back and make New York City in London, you know. So I got a little bit in New York, but they did a great job here. As you can see, it kind of looks like a real derelict area in New York.
Well, when we came here, it was totally empty. There had been 3 hospital wards here, which were pulled down. So we were just left with derelict land. So we had to decide what to do with it. In this case, it was to create New York in London, in Lambeth. So we laid out the street in a T-junction, which gives us the right angles, and put a main corner building. Built the end bit to mask new buildings at the end, which we wanted to lose. On top of some of the existing buildings, which we've got, we put water towers, fire escapes, which were, again, very American. Graffiti is another important thing of American, or New York, visuals, I always feel. We had an American who came in and did some actual American graffiti for us, if you like, which you'll see all over the site.
Ready? 668, take 4, over and seeker.
foreground people.
You're right, Doc.
Since the making of Death Wish 1 and 2, real life has caught up with Mr. Bronson's avenging hero. In what many describe as a copycat killing, a vigilante gunman, Bernard Goetz, shot 4 muggers on a New York subway. The rights or wrongs of his action sparked off a national controversy.
We don't say the vigilante is a good guy, we say that society got or would get, and we said this in 1974, that society would get to a point of such confusion that somebody in frustration would shoot a mugger and would be a hero. That is, that a killer or wounder would become a hero. Now, this was 11 years ago. Mr. Goetz was a very slow learner, if he learned from that film. We were nothing to do with that at all. So what we did do, though, was make this amazing prophecy, which not only happened in the manner we said, but in the place we said, namely on the American subway. Filmmakers take incidents or stories that happen in life. They've done so throughout history, and they encapsulate them into little dramas. Films have only been going 60 years, violence has been going for thousands of years. I'm quite sure a Mary Whitehouse clone was outside the Globe Theatre saying this dreadful man Shakespeare has people with eyes being gouged out, and heads, severed heads, have been carried around on poles, she's saying. You're a terrible fellow. Makes no difference. People are not angels when they enter the theatre and villains when they exit it. They all know these things happen. We dramatise them. I have to say in a perverse way that if Mr. Goetz is to be tried, which I'm very glad because it looked at one point if he wasn't, I would be delighted if coincidence had this film opening the same week, because he would do us an awful lot of good at the box office.
Spoken like a true artist, Michael. Mind you, things aren't looking too good at the moment. The film opens in November next month, but no date has yet been set for the Goetz trial. Incidentally, if you're moved to wonder who needs Death Wish 3, the answer is presumably the investors do. Death Wish 1 and 2 have already taken $120 million. But now we leave Michael Winner and company doing their own blood-spattered version of the Lambeth Walk and switch to New York itself, the setting for Catholic boys.
After its release in theatres, Death Wish 3 received primarily negative reviews. Some lambasted the film for sadistic, over-violent content, and that the fact 64-year-old Charles Bronson was thrown into a Rambo-like situation.
Has finally gotten his third wish. It's Death Wish 3, continuing his series about an urban adventure. But now Gene starts with a medieval adventure named Flesh and Blood. Well, we just talked about one of the best uses of film that we had ever seen, and now it's back to the beat with one of the worst. Our next movie is named Death Wish 3, and I almost think I could stop right there. That almost describes the film. This movie is a retread of the previous 2 Charles Bronson thrillers involving a middle-aged man who gets fed up to here and isn't going to take it anymore. In the movie, Bronson is turned into a semi-professional urban vigilante, and he moves into a slum neighborhood to declare war on the local street gang.
Who the hell's firing, man? You told someone to fire?
I like the way Bronson has his hand on the barrel of that machine gun there. It wouldn't be hot, of course. Not for Bronson, strong like bull. Bronson has said he didn't really want to make Death Wish 3, and the writer of the movie wanted to take his name off of it. One of the other actors said he didn't approve of it, but of course the project got made anyway because it was hot after all the headlines about New York's real-life vigilante, William Goetz. The weirdest thing about this movie is since it doesn't want to look racist, it has Bronson fighting an integrated street gang. I guess that's progress, Gene, to see whites, blacks, and Latinos working side by side to pillage and rape the city.
It's a laughable film in this way because all it is nonstop. They tear up the joint. Every window gets broken into. Then he pulls out the gun. The neighbors pull out the guns, laughably big guns. Bronson tries to outdo Dirty Harry, brings out a bigger gun than Harry's .44 Magnum. I mean, it's cartoon, and I laughed at the film. It was dumb and stupid, and there's no reason to see it.
It's a formula, and basically, you've seen the other Death Wish films. Here's your third wish. Big deal.
Yeah. 2 thumbs down for a tired Charles Bronson and a tired story. Death Wish 3. I think it's time for him to put away his gun.
Death Wish 3. First, they took the streets. Then, they took it all. But their next target may be their last victim. Charles Bronson, where there is no justice, there can only be vengeance. Charles Bronson. Death Wish 3, rated R.
Starts Friday at a theater near you.
Death Wish 3 was released on VHS in the UK by Guild Home Video in 1986 and was released on MGM UA Home Video in the US. The film was made into a video game of the same name by Gremlins Graphics for the ZX Spectrum, Commodore 64, MSX, and the Amstrad CPC. In the game, the player controls Paul Kersey in the streets and buildings in a free-roaming, all-out gunfight with gangsters. It is one of the goriest games of all time, featuring multiple weapons with detailed, different damage patterns and a possibility to kill civilians.